Oh no! We're making it down the sludgy doo to the park.
11 years after that shotgun blast, 27-year-old Chrissy Stelz is all grown up and a mother.
Are you ready, Daddy?
Happily raising her young son with the child's father, Jeffrey Dilger.
Hey, little buddy.
She calls Dilger the love of her life, and like Chrissy, he is also blind.
Whee! Oh!
With a black sleep shade, Chrissy Stelz masks what's left of her face. She has no eyes and no nose. She breathes through a hole in her face. However, while the shotgun blast may have blinded Chrissy and shattered her face, it did not shatter her.
You know, I'm blind, but I'm not, tied down on a couch. I'm not unable to go have fun. I can whitewater raft, I can hike.
The night Stelz was shot, she admits she'd been drinking with other teens. One was playing with a shotgun. She told him to put it down. He said it wasn't loaded, and that's the last thing she remembers seeing. The gun was stolen, and Stelz admits she was in the getaway car at the time. She never faced charges. Prosecutors figured she'd already suffered enough. A night of stupidity, Stelz says, which almost ended her life.
I'm still here. I'm still with us. I'm alive and kicking, so we're doing good.
Chrissy was not expected to survive, or if she did, not expected to be much more than a vegetable. But she left the hospital 6 weeks and 15 surgeries later. She finished high school on time with straight A's. She even went to the prom. Somehow, Stelz's brain escaped injury, though to this day she lives with 30 to 40 bullet fragments lodged in her brain.
I was never uncomfortable with my looks. I was always very comfortable with who I was.
Stelz was never one of those teenage girls who spent hours in front of the mirror. Still, imagine how tough it would be to be a 16-year-old girl suddenly without those cheerleader pretty good looks.
I think it made me, in a sense, kind of learn who I was inside versus just outside.
Besides, Stelz had a bigger challenge ahead, learning to live independently as a blind person. It was at a course for the blind where she met Dilger. One reason Stelz says she wouldn't change a thing about her life.
These are what screw into the bone, into my skull. We just had this one come loose.
Stelz has had a total of 23 surgeries. In the latest one, surgeons embedded titanium implants into bone so her artificial face can be magnetically snapped into place. That will be done next week by Dr. Larry Over of Eugene. A prosthodontist, Dr. Over will work with photos of Chrissy at 16 and then age her by a decade. While Chrissy Stelz is not a vain woman, she does want to have a more regular face for one big reason.
The main reason is for my son, so that he can grow up knowing what mom looks like regularly without having to see a sleep shade every day.
11-month-old Jeffrey has only seen his mom masked like Zora, or Zorette as she often refers to herself. But Chrissy wants him to see her like she sees and remembers herself. She plans to introduce him to her new face gently, with an age-old game that every mom instinctively plays with her child.
The first time he sees me is wearing the sleep shade and more of the peekaboo, where I'll wear the sleep shade, we'll play on the floor like we regularly do, and we'll start our peekaboo games where I'll raise the sleep shade up and he'll see the prosthetic.
And little by little, Jeffrey will get used to a mom with a face, and he'll see that she has the same blue eyes as he does. Monday, a 27-year-old faceless blind woman walks into a Eugene medical office wearing a black sleep shade, just like she's worn for the last 11 years. Even though she can't see what she looks like, she knows it's not pretty. Chrissy Stelz has no eyes and no nose, just a breathing hole. Without her mask, Chrissy's face above her mouth looks like a skull with skin stretched over it.
I ran around screaming and crying.
Chrissy Stelz long ago owned up to her guilt in the story of what led up to her injuries. She was 16 and drinking the night she was almost killed. A friend accidentally shot her with a stolen shotgun. Chrissy did not steal the gun, but she was in the getaway car at the time of the burglary. Stelz will always live with the consequences of what she calls her bad decisions, but she's also put the past behind her. And when Chrissy leaves Eugene later this week, for the first time as a grown woman, she will have a face to present to the rest of the world.
I'm feeling great. I'm excited, very, very excited.
More accurately, Chrissy will wear a face, a mask, called a facial prosthesis. In a surgery last spring, titanium implants were embedded into Chrissy's facial bones. Those implants will enable the prosthesis to magnetically snap in place. Chrissy will look something like her old self, only older.
What will want to match up are the wrinkles that she has in her
face and be consistent with those. And just the coloration and the skin texture, those are two big things.
The prosthesis is being made by a two-man crew, Eugene dentist and prosthodontist Larry Over and David Trainer, a maxillofacial prosthetist from Florida. Their rare expertise requires both medical and artistic skills.
The challenge is making it look right.
Not much on this side.
Before the doctors begin, they check to make sure Chrissy's face has healed. Then, using silicone that looks like Play-Doh, the specialists make an impression of Chrissy's face. That sits on her face for just a few minutes. Chrissy says it feels like a Halloween mask.
You okay, Chrissy?
It's just, I feel, ooh.
There you are, sweetheart. We got it.
Later, the impression is cast in dental plaster. Doctors check to make sure the new mold lines up accurately with Chrissy's face and the surgical implants. Otherwise, she'll look off-kilter.
Set the eyes, starts positioning the nose.
There's more. Chrissy's new blue eyeballs, already made to match her original eyes, have to be trimmed to fit.
Actually setting the gaze of both eyes to make it look correctly.
Dr. Trainer, sculpting in wax, lines up the eyes. That bug-eyed look will soon disappear under wax eyelids. And when Dr. Trainer starts to sculpt Chrissy's nose, mere minutes later, she has a nose. A rudimentary face begins to take shape in place of the disfigured face Chrissy has hidden for more than a decade. In a few days, Chrissy's life will change, not as dramatically as it did the day she was shot, but still, the change will be profound.
I think it'll be interesting for the people that know me. They'll actually know that it is, something new. I think for strangers, it'll probably just look more along the lines of a regular blind person.
In the last 11 years, Chrissy has hidden her face, but not herself. She's not retiring nor shy. Still, she says she's looking forward to attracting less attention to herself. Thursday, Chrissy will walk out of here no longer wearing a crude sleep shade, but rather a finely crafted, womanly face, reminiscent of the girl she once was. Shauna Parsons, the 8 o'clock news.
So it's better to just imply that they're there, and then with a little bit of eyeliner just darken it up a little bit.
For the past 4 days here in Eugene, doctors have been making a facial prosthesis for Chrissy Stelz. It's the same idea as a prosthesis for a leg or an arm. Chrissy's facial prosthesis snaps in place. It adheres magnetically to implants that surgeons previously embedded into her facial bones.
On their face, they really look good.
This morning, the artificial face is almost done. Dr. David Trainer is just putting on the finishing touches, including eyelashes, long, like Chrissy's used to be. The mask is made out of silicone. Over the last few days, it's been sculpted, baked, and colored to match Chrissy's own skin tones.
I'd like a little lighter. Is that okay with you?
The eyes are made of acrylic, her baby blues matching the eyes she was born with. The prosthesis itself is a work of art. Doctors working from a picture of Chrissy as a 16-year-old, aging her to reflect the last 11 years.
So you can see your eyes through them very nicely.
A shotgun blast blinded Chrissy and almost took her life years ago, but there was no brain damage. Inner beauty usually comes with age. For Chrissy, it came early and brutally.
I've never really felt like I look lesser beautiful due to the gunshot. I haven't allowed myself to feel that way because beauty's on the inside, not the outside.
The shooting was the result of a night of drinking. Chrissy has admitted to that and the fact that she was in the getaway car when that very same shotgun was stolen from a Portland gun store. It was her friend playing with that gun who shot her accidentally. Every day, Chrissy lives with the consequences of some bad youthful decisions, but she is focused on the future. And now, more than a decade later, Chrissy has a face. It's made to fit tightly over what's left of her real face. Her artificial face weighs just 1.5 ounces. The process of making the prosthesis craftsmanlike and methodical and nothing short of astonishing.
But yeah, I love what they've done.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
For the first time in 11 years, Chrissy's family and friends see her like they remember her. Chrissy's mom, Jeannie Stelz.
I mean, she was always been Chrissy, but now she looks like Chrissy.
Yeah, if you didn't get to feel it, sweetie, here. Do you want me to sit down? It's a neat feeling. It feels kind of like...
It feels kind of like skin, different though.
A younger sister born after Chrissy's accident can't believe her eyes. Except in pictures, Cheyenne Stelz has never seen her sister's face.
It looks so real, right?
Yeah, that it looks so real because I was thinking it would look more waxy.
I mean, this is amazing. It's even got little wrinkles like she used to have on her face.
Chrissy Stelz long ago learned to live independently as a blind woman. She fell in love, has a partner, and now a baby boy. In fact, her reason for wanting a face was so her son could see her with a face. Stelz's new face doesn't look perfectly real, but it certainly makes her look more normal.
I think it'll mean almost like she can pick up where she left off that 11 years ago.
And even though Chrissy Stelz has never been one to worry about what she looks like, today she heard over and over, "You're beautiful." And it was kind of nice to hear.
Exactly it is. I've gone 11 years without the superficial, and I'm ready to have it back. Are you going to look at me? Oh, hi. Gentle hands.
In the end, seeing Mama was no big deal for little Jeffrey, who turns 1 next week.
He has no worries with it, no questions. He knows it's Mama.
For months, Chrissy Stelz had planned out that playful game of peekaboo. She wanted to give her son time to get used to her, since she would no longer look like the only mom he's ever known. Stelz joked beforehand that her little boy might find a masked mom more entertaining than a mom with a more normal-looking face. Still, she wanted her son to see her with a face. However, she says the big moment proved undramatic.
As funny as it is, he let nothing seemed to upset him about it. He looked at me, gave me a huge smile, and was ready to keep playing. You can feel the nose in the middle. You feel that?
Acceptance from the other man in her life was also important. Jeffrey Dilger is Chrissy's partner of 8 years, and like Chrissy, Dilger is also blind.
So it's better to just imply that they're there, and then with a little bit of eyeliner.
Chrissy's new face is artificial. Those beautiful blue eyes are acrylic. They don't move, though they do pop out. Chrissy can't breathe out of that perfectly sculpted nose. She still breathes out of a hole where her nose would be.
It's going to be a little tight, too.
Yeah, she's going to have a...
Last week, doctors in Eugene spent 4 days making this facial prosthesis modeled after the pretty young teen Chrissy was before she was shot. It's a silicone mask that snaps onto implants surgically embedded in her bone. The mask is made from an impression, cast, molded, it's sculpted and colored, eyelashes are put on, eyeliner and mascara too.
The challenge is making it look right.
For Chrissy to get to this point is a story in itself. Chrissy was not expected to survive that point-blank shotgun blast to her face, but she did, and with no brain damage. Chrissy admits she and her friends had been drinking the night one of them accidentally shot her. She also admits she'd been in the getaway car when her friends stole that shotgun and a cache of other guns. She accepted responsibility for those mistakes.
I'm blind, but I'm not, tied down on a couch.
Chrissy's never wanted people to feel sorry for her. She learned to live independently and happily as a blind woman. In part, the birth of her son pushed her to take this latest step in her recovery.
Well, it's just wonderful for her because it's a closure of a part of her life that really was not a very positive, was a very negative part of her life.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
A grown woman now, Chrissy's friends and family teared up in the doctor's office when they saw her for the first time in 11 years with a face that looked like the Chrissy they knew, remembered, and loved. There's a children's book called Are You My Mother? It turns out that little Jeffrey didn't need a face to answer that question. He could tell by his mother's smell, her voice, her caress, her humor.
Let go of Mama's hair, please. And he smiles. He goes, yeah. I peeked at you. I peeked at you. You look at me.